Okay, first of all, check this small 20-second clip video.
Cet homme, Al-Mahdi, c'est lui qui va prendre la place sur Al-Mimber de la Mecque. Il va s'auto-proclamer qu'il est Al-Mahdi al-Muntadhar. Il a tous les gouverneurs dans toutes les gouvernances vont chuter. C'est fini. Alhamdulillah. On n'aura plus tous ces drapeaux tricolores qui nous gangrènent, qui nous font mal à la tête.
Do you find the words spoken by this imam shocking? Do you find them to be anti-French? Do they justify being arrested and expelled from the country? Well, they were enough to have the French government and media gang up on Imam Mahdi, a man who has been living in France since 1986. And the word tricolor was all it took to have him expelled from the country, far from his children, all in less than 12 hours. During a Friday khutbah, Imam Mahdi stood on the mimbar and told the believers about the awaited Imam Mahdi, the man who will become the leader of our ummah, an ummah in desperate need of real Islamic leadership. As he mentioned the unification of the Muslims under one righteous caliph, he took the time to criticize nationalism and the animosity it can generate between believers who are sometimes neighbors. At no point in the entire khutbah did the Imam ever mention the French Republic. And yet, as a few clips of the recorded khutbah began to circulate on X, journalists and politicians with an agenda took hold of them and started to tell their own narrative without shame. The accusation? The Imam was clearly targeting the French blue, white, and red tricolor flag, and thus the French Republic as a whole. In their own words, it was incitement to hatred, despite the fact that the Imam did not mention France in his Friday speech or in the 46 seconds clip taken out of context and circulated to make a case against an innocent man. The winner of this farce of bias and lies, Le Figaro, historical newspaper with a long history of misinformation and strong sentiment against Islam. Indeed, as the clips of Imam Mahdi were being circulated, they decided to tell their own story and shamelessly put words in Mahdi's mouth.
Dans cette vidéo, cet imam tunisien qualifie le drapeau français, tricolore, de drapeau satanique.
The only thing is, Mahdi never mentioned the French flag. Not once. No offense to the French, but the French flag is not only the tricolor flag on earth. In fact, there are 25 tricolor flags around the globe. But not only that, but the Imam clearly said flags, plural.
On n'aura plus tous ces drapeaux tricolores.
Thus, he was clearly targeting nationalism and tribalism within our ummah, calling us to be united ummah. But the media never had an intention to do justice to the Imam. They had no other purpose than giving the Imam a bad name and controlling public opinion to support the initiative of the Home Secretary Gerard Darmanin. Indeed, after the story gained traction, he tweeted, "Under my instructions, the words of that Imam have been the subject of a report to the Procurer of the Republic. I asked for the withdrawal of his residence permit with the aim of his expulsion from the territory. No call to hatred will remain," with a response. Not long after, the police came knocking on the door of the Imam, and he was arrested in front of his crying children for speaking publicly in the country of free speech. It is important to note that the Imam appeared on several media outlets to counter the accusations made against him and clarify that he was no way targeting the French flag.
Puis-je être un homme intelligent, avec la place que j'occupe, me filmer avec mon téléphone et insulter? Donc la France, il faut emmener chez un psychiatre.
Nevertheless, the news of his arrest rejoiced many people who hold grudge against the religion of Islam. One of them a deputy no less, went as far as bringing Mahjoubi a plane ticket to facilitate his expulsion from the territory.
Donc je suis venu ce soir, lui apporter un billet d'avion. C'est pas compliqué, c'est un imam tunisien. Un billet d'avion de Paris vers la Tunisie pour ce jeudi à 6h25. Peut-être que ça l'obligera à se lever tôt.
This sounds like a comedy sketch, but it really isn't. It is the reality Muslims of France have to deal with. And only a few hours after his arrest, the same justice system that sometimes takes years to come to a decision ruled to send Mahjoubi over 1,000 kilometers away from his children, doing so less than 12 hours after his arrest. It is no surprise that the media, as well as the political class, rejoiced at the Imam's faith, and to add insult to injury, decided to scrupulously look at all his previous speeches and find in them clips that they could take out of context and use against him. While gracefully accepting the court decision for now, Mahjoubi still defends himself from Tunis in the media, correcting them on the false accusations they made against him. According to his lawyer, the Imam will be contesting the decision, and he hopes to return to France to his family and the masjid he left empty. Whether or not the judge looking at his case will display impartiality despite the political and mediatic pressure is unknown for us. But one thing is for sure, any call to Islamic unity and authenticity in the West will be met with hostility.